All right, so we're going to be taking a look at La Cinquantaine, the violin solo, and we're going to be working today on measures 1 through 8. It might seem a little strange to spend so much time on just 8 measures, but if you take a look at the piece, you'll find that these 8 measures actually repeat several times. So we play the first 8 measures, and then starting at measure 9, we repeat what we just played. So measures 9 through 16 are the same as measures 1 through 8. So that takes up the first 3 lines of this piece. This is 9 lines, so that's 1/3 of the piece. And then as you look down to measure 33, those last 3 lines are the same as the first 3 lines. So just by learning these 8 measures of music, you actually are learning 2/3 of the solo, which is pretty incredible. So we're going to work really hard to get these 8 measures down to really understand how to play them. There's a lot in them, but if you stick with me, I promise we'll go through all of the things that look a little bit strange in these 8 measures. So the first thing I'd like you to do, just as a reminder to yourself, take a pencil and write a note to yourself somewhere on the top of this that whenever you're in 3rd position, and you're in 3rd position a lot in this piece, your finger pattern is always 2, 3. So it's always a close 2nd and 3rd finger. That's a little different than what we've been doing in lessons. In lessons, we've been doing exercises with a lot of 3, 4 finger patterns. This piece uses a 2, 3 pattern, and a lot of students actually find that that is easier. So I just want you to write a note somewhere. In 1st position, it is different. It is not 2, 3, and it's actually different depending on what string you're in. But for this piece, anytime you're in 3rd position, you're going to have that 2, 3 finger pattern. Okay, so I just want it somewhere on the page so you can remember that. So let's take a look at the beginning here. You'll see the first note is in 1st position. Our first note is in E, 1 finger on the D string. Then we play open A, and then right away we are in 3rd position. That's that 2nd note of the 1st measure. Remember, you don't count the pickup as a measure. So in the 1st measure, the 2nd note is an E, 2 fingers on the A string in 3rd position. Okay? When you put those 3 notes together, this is a very important shift. Remember, you do it 4 times. It's going to sound like this. And part of the reason it's so important is because you can really tell if it's out of tune, because the 1st note you played was an E, and the 3rd note you played is an E. And if that 2nd E is just a little bit sharp or a little bit flat, it's very obvious. So as you're playing, this E should match your E string. Okay, if you're too high, they don't sound correct, and if you're too low, it doesn't sound right either. So we're looking for. Okay, so you might need to spend 10 or 15 minutes just going through getting that shift down, and that is okay. After we play that, the next 2 notes are E, E. You repeat that 2nd finger. See, it's really important that you get on that 2nd finger in tune because you play it 3 times in a row. And I don't think it's marked in the page I gave you, but make sure that you put that those are both up bows. That's hooked bowing, so it's 2 ups in a row. Up, down, up, up. Okay? So again, it's going to look like this. Okay? The next measure, measure 2. Again, this is all in 3rd position. It's going to be 2, 1, 2, 3. Remember that 2, 3 pattern. So we should be able to put everything together up until the end of the 2nd measure. It should sound like this. Looking to measure 3, this looks really similar, doesn't it? And measure 4. Okay, so measures 1, 2 are the same as measures 3 and 4. Okay? We're going to put that all together because something interesting is about to happen in measure 5, so we'll make sure we can get from measures 1 to 4 right now. Okay, so starting in 1st position, but we're not going to stay there for long. Set that 1st finger down. Ready, here we go. Awesome. Hopefully that you have that down. That's not too bad. It is in third position, but hopefully it's pretty straightforward and not giving you too much trouble. Now we get to measure 5, and you'll see the note that's written there you would normally play like this, 3 fingers on the E string. We call that a high A, but you'll notice that they have put a 0 over that note. And you're probably thinking, hang on a second, that's not an open string, and you're correct, but sometimes a 0 means something else. And we've only seen this like one other time, but you might remember when we learned harmonics, and there's a little 0 over a harmonic too. So this does not mean open string, it means play it like a harmonic. Okay, remember a harmonic, there's different types of harmonics, but the one that we learned and the one that's in this piece is when you split your string exactly in half from this point to this point, so it's somewhere around here. You can only play a harmonic with one finger. You can't have any other fingers on the string, and you have to very, very lightly touch. I'm not pressing down at all. I'm just literally like placing my finger very lightly on the string. So it sounds like this. That harmonic is the harmonic on the A string. You're splitting your A string in half. Now remember, we called this a magic note. We said that this was magic because it doesn't sound unless you're in exactly the right spot. So here's the correct spot. If I back up a little bit, nothing comes out. So the kind of neat thing about this, you're coming from 3 fingers in third position, and then you stretch up to find that A. You can almost sort of slide into it. See how I kind of slid into it until the note sounded? Remember, you can't press down like this. That's not a harmonic. That's just playing a note, but making sure that you're really light on that string, barely just touching, barely pressing down at all. Okay, and that's that harmonic. Okay, so I'm going to play now from the beginning through the harmonic, so you can hear what it all sounds like. Okay, now that's going to, again, take a little bit of practice. I can tell you I've had many students prepare this piece. They all freak out when they hear the harmonic the first time, but once they practice it, they say, oh, it's actually not that bad, and actually for many of them, that ends up being their favorite part of the piece. So spend some time working on it. Even if it's a little bit challenging right now, I promise you will get it. After the harmonic, we go back to third position. Remember, the harmonic is actually higher than third position, so you have to move your hand back. And here's what I always recommend, and this is how I would like you to practice, at least for the next week, if not 2 weeks. There's a rest after that harmonic. And I'd like you to just stop. Don't worry about keeping time. I want you to find where your fingers go. So after you play the harmonic, I want you to go back to third position and put down 1, space to 2, close 3, 4. Because you can see after the harmonic, the notes are 4, 3, 2, 1. A lot of people will play the harmonic, put their pinky down, and then guess on the other fingers. And that's a really bad thing to do. You want to make sure that you set your fingers where they need to be so you can play the right notes. So you're going to do harmonic, stop, 1, 2, close 3, 4. Okay, we will practice that in a second when we play through this. Then we're going to measure 6. Measure 6. Finally, we are back in first position. You might want to take a pencil and put a little down arrow over that second finger note because that is a C natural. It's a close second finger to your first finger. And measure 6 is going to sound like this. Okay, so hopefully we don't have any problems with measure 6. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to play the first 6 measures, but when I get to that harmonic part, I am going to stop and show you the way that I want you to practice it. Okay, so here we go from the beginning. Ready, here we go. Stop. 1, 2, close 3, 4. Back to first. We have left 7 and 8. Measure 8 is very easy. We'll get 8, no problem. 7 has a lot going on, so we're going to take a minute to look at each little part of measure 7. I know it says trill, TR over the note. We're going to hold on that for 1 second, because the first thing I want you to notice is that the first note in measure 7 is a note that you probably have never seen before. It looks like this. It's a half note. There is one dot, which you've seen. That's a 3-beat note. And then there's a second dot. I can almost guarantee that none of you have seen a note with 2 dots after it before. And it's pretty cool as a middle schooler to be running into this, because it's something you don't normally see as a middle schooler. We will eventually learn how to figure out how many beats this is, but for right now I'm just going to spare you the math, and I'll tell you this is 3.5 beats. So 3 beats plus a half. And you can see I've written underneath that note that you're going to count to 4, and then the and of 4 is that A. So when you...
Can I have your attention, please? Teachers may release their students to the next period class.
So when you play this, you're going to count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So see how I got to 4, then I played the A. Let me show you again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we need to add on the trill. On top of that note it says TR. A trill in music means you play the note that's written and then alternate that note with the next highest note in the music. So we have a B. The next highest note would be a C natural, a low 2. Okay, so we would go back and forth between B and C. Now some styles of music require you to play very fast trills. Some require you to play very slow trills. This is your middle of the road, medium speed trill. So you do not need to go like this, as absolutely fast as you can, but you also don't want to be going like this. That's too slow. So when you get there, we're looking for something like this. And you still have to count. So when you play measure 7 and 8, it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so don't get out of hand and trill for 19 beats. You want to just count your 3.5 and then keep going with the piece. All right, so that's everything in the first 8 measures. I told you it was going to be a lot. There are a lot of things to think about. Don't get discouraged. Really, you see how we went through like a couple of measures at a time. Take the time to practice it like that. Let me play for you all 8 measures together so you can hear what they sound like. And remember, it happens 4 times in this piece, so this actually is 2/3 of the piece. So you've learned quite a bit already. So 1, 2, 3. For now, we're going to stop and go 1, 2, close 3, 4. So keep working hard on that stuff. We will, there's one slightly different thing in the phrase at measure 9. We'll talk about that next time, and then start working on the other new section.